fully load in here. Alright, hey guys, we're going to talk about fighters today and how to make the best use of our fighters for each different utility: PvP, conqueror, and garrison. We're going to start off with PvP, and we're going to start off with talents. And what talents are we looking for in a PvP fighter? What skills or attributes are we looking for in a PvP fighter? We are looking for high damage, high skill damage, and we're looking at good survivability. That's how you know what a PvP fighter is. If you look through, you'll see that I don't actually have a lot of PvP fighters. But those are the ones that are going to be really good. Anything with that hitter and mobility, or that troop-specific tree and mobility, troop-specific tree and skill, those are going to be your best at PvP. And so to focus on those the best, focus into that utility the best, you're going to want to make sure that your talent trees are set up for that. You'll notice, like on Doris, and there's a pilot and shooter relevant, comparably relevant rather. But you would want to go for the skill tree for PvP. Balanced helps out more of like conquering and hitting gang buildings and distributors and things like that. So that is going to be how you would set up your tree specific. So in order to set these guys up best whenever we're going into the field, we're going to set them up for either crowd control or joining rallies, or just straight up fighting. So you can use any fighter, and I guess I should add that. So these are your best at PvP, yes, but any fighter can be used in PvP if you spec out their talent trees right. Like if I use Hong and I want to use him for a garrison, I'm going to put him in garrison and support. But if I want to use him for the max buffs in the field, I would put him in hitter support, because I know that it's just going to be net me better results. That defense boost every 5 seconds, or for 5 seconds, anytime a heal is activated, is hugely beneficial, especially when you're running a lot of healing gear. As you'll see, I run on all of my equipment that's not energizers, or I'm starting to run on all my equipment that's not energizers. Conquerors are the same way. You can set them up for PvP setup by putting them into the relevant relevant trees, talent trees, with buffs that will apply. All the way down, you'll see that everything, aside for her, was set up correctly for PvP. I didn't have her set up for PvP at all, so I'll need to fix that. But these might be your best choice for joining a rally or joining a garrison, because when you're in that position, the most important thing is that you can actually make it to the distributor or make it to the rally to join. And sometimes you just need survivability, which is your toughest fighters. Also, you'll notice that on all of my marches, and you can do the same thing on pilots. Not so sure about shooters. I don't think they have the ability for crowd control really yet. But all of my setups have the active ability, or the active skill, that you can use Power of the Taunt to use for crowd control, right? And you can park these guys in a friend's city or a distributor, and they can sit there and they can wait, and their active skills will charge the entire time. And then whenever you're ready to use them, you can recall them out of the distributor, pop the active skill over here, and then jump right back into a distributor, or right back into another city, or continue your walk home. And in the process, you're catching bad guys, and you're leaving them exposed for us to come in and kill them, which is really fun, and it makes them defenseless. So that's what I would use a PvP fighter for. Those are these things: to either assist rallies, to use them as crowd control, or for direct field fighting and having the highest amount of damage possible. Conquerors. Conquerors are going to be anybody with that conqueror tree, right? Or the new destruction talent tree that is available, like I have on Reynolds here. And the reason is they have a ton of buffs that are part of that talent tree and part of this skill, talent skill, that will increase your damage to and your defense from fighting distributors and fighting other gang buildings, such as the launch pad or a neutral building in an enemy's KVK territory. So for the conquerors, you will always want to set them up with the conqueror tree. I like to use this guy specifically in hitter conqueror because of the buffs that are applied. The attack damage, troop attack damage, things like that. You might want to change that around. For instance, my garrison, I do not like to have the hitter buff as much as I do to have that support buff. So it may benefit you more to have them in that conqueror and support class, whatever that last class is. But play around with it and check for best results. And then always make sure that you have a set of equipment that you can jump onto your conqueror. Conquerors are going to be your least used, so and they're really the least effective in fighting on the field as a PvP fighter. So I mean, yes, he does work, but he's just the least effective in comparison to the other fighters. And the same goes for any other conqueror that I've tried. They're really good at hitting buildings. They're not good at fighting other people. So I normally will not keep equipment on my conqueror, at least for now, until I can get a couple more sets and I can actively keep something on him or on one. But always make sure that you're switching your equipment over to your conqueror before using him, or else he's absolutely worthless. Absolutely worthless in comparison to an enemy. You will get smoked and you will feel very bad, and people will start to not want to join your rallies. So that's what we would set those guys up for in talent trees. Now, as far as the mech, you're always going to want to use an ape mech or your strongest mech available other than an ape if you're joining someone's rally. So if I'm joining McWanderer or McBull's rally, I'm going to join them with my Cheeto or my Scorpion, and I'm going to save my mech, so that my 8 mech, so that way I can lead my own rally. That's in the instance of several rallies. It may benefit you more if you're only running one rally at a time. Absolutely, send your 8 mech, which is going to have the best buffs against buildings, to add that multiplier on the buff for the march. Hope that's not too many words. Sorry, some of this gets to be pretty elaborate. Now, as far as garrisons, I guess we're just gonna switch over. Oh, actually, solos on conquerors. Be careful with this, okay? But if you're gonna set up a solo bus, make sure to set it up with a conqueror in the lead position of each march. Right now I have a garrison fighter there set up for PvP. That would not work. Right now I have Electrojack. That would not work. Ideally, if I was going to do a solo bus, I would set it up specifically with 3 conquerors as the first fighters, which I do not have those upgraded where I want them yet. But I would use 3 separate conquerors, and then if you want to rally, or if you want to solo distributors, then obviously using somebody with a balanced tree in the back end, like Aldrich or Doris, would actually be great. And then maybe Reynold or someone else there, just for those enhanced buffs. But that would be a perfect battle bus, and you can set that same thing up with pilots or Alright, now for garrison. Garrisons are all going to have that garrison talent. I like to double up, whether you're doing a conqueror or garrison specific utility, you're going to want to double up on the conqueror or the defense or whatever trait it is specifically. I know pilots now have the withstand with Charlotte Rossi, which is incredibly good for garrisons. And I know shooters now have the added benefit of the final showdown, which makes them incredibly important and valuable in the final stages of any planet. So KVK or home planet either as well. I'm guessing it would be applicable for launchpad days as well. But always make sure that you have those talent classes activated. I like to run garrison and support class, and it adds that defense buff to the march each time that you are healed. And each one of my garrisons has a healing skill, passive skill, and the passive skills of all of the equipment that will regularly heal you. Maximize those buffs and you'll be doing well. Also, standalone best defense mech is the elephant still. Just like the ape for conqueror, the best for garrison is the elephant. So maximize that first skill, go to the additional mech skill, and then maximize your defense and health, because the primary use of a mech is not to kill troops. It is to defend your march while your troops are killing troops. Remember that. Always make sure that before you send a march out, you are sending troop-specific marches out. I'm not going to send shooters and hitters and pilots at the same time. I'm going to send all hitters, because I know that is what my relics are going to be in, so that's what my highest amount of buff is going to be able to be in. And always, always, always apply your attack and defense buffs before going out into the field. Alright, that's it.